Hello, I'm Nick Ramirez, and this is my case presentation. I decided to choose Beastie Boys versus Monster Energy Corporation. I'm here to tell you a little bit about the company profile, about the case, and then I'll wrap it up with a conclusion about what I personally think about the verdict. Now, founded in 1934 as Hanson's Natural Juice Company, that was their name for the longest time. They sold regular products, juice soda, and then after in 2002 they created Monster Energy Drink, which completely changed the company's financial profile and eventually changing their name to Monster Energy Corporation in 2012. One of the major things they did was entered a strategic partnership with Coca-Cola in 2015. Utilizing their logistics and their freight, all their vendors that they use. Which I'll tell you a little about their performance as a company. Right now, they hold about 29.7% of the U.S. market share in the energy drink segment. With about 39% overall worldwide, second only to Red Bull. Their compound annual growth rate is about 22%, so they've experienced year after year growth as they continue operations. And ever since they released their stock on the market, it has gone up over 120,000%. Yes, 1,000% since inception. And which it's only been a company for less than 30 years as a publicly traded company. And so that's pretty impressive in itself. And right now, as of 2013, on the Edgar website, on their SEC filing on the 10K of 2023, they have a profit margin of 23%. So a very good company that's stable. Now I'll tell you a little bit about the case itself. Beastie Boys versus Monster Energy Drinks or Corporation. And that was all about copyright infringement with the intention of using a email exchanged as a binding contract, which as I'll talk about, it's definitely not a binding contract. Now, to give you a little bit of context about why this all began, there was a DJ known as DJ Z Trip, and he was actually contacted by the Beastie Boys to do a mega mix, which is basically a mashup of all their songs. This was to promote their new album that was coming up around the time. And so, Z Trip made the mega mix. He released it for them. They still own the rights because it was all their music, but they allowed him to create it for them in that opportunity. And no, he did not have the rights to distribute their music in any way. Now, fast forward a little bit to the year 2012. Beastie Boys music was heavily featured in a promotional video that Monster did for an event that they were holding. Now, they contacted Z-Trip, who made the Megamix. They really liked what they heard, and so they decided to ask him if they could use it. And so this was all done via email exchange, and what he basically told them was he used the word dope as, yeah, that's cool. Like, that would be cool to use the music, but, dope does not equal consent to use an artist's music, as you'll find out. So the Beastie Boys took notice of this, and they decided to try and sue the Monster Energy Corporation. And so there are similar cases of this happening before. We'll get to the verdict of the case, but this is nothing new that happens. So back in 1992, there was Waits versus Frito-Lay's, and basically the singer Tom Waits, he was very angry because he did not want his music used in any commercial type of activity whatsoever. Frito-Lay's, were told no. They decided to get a sing-alike singer, someone who sounded just like him and would sing his songs, claiming that wasn't copyright infringement, but of course it was, and it was all changed to the Lambda Act that allowed the protection of any kind of likeness in an artist's music if it's quite obviously on the nose. That's not, of course, what they say in the case study itself, but that's essentially what it is, an artist's uniqueness being preserved. It's the same with Medler versus Ford in the 80s. Ford basically tried to contact her to use her songs. She said no, and like Waits versus Frito-Lay's, they also had a sing-alike singer who sounded exactly like her, and so you kind of see the parallels that go along with these cases, with big companies taking advantage of an artist's music without their consent, and them obviously getting upset about it and suing. In every case that I've mentioned so far, the singer or the artist has won. Waits, wins. Let's see. $2.6 million in damages. Midler won a little bit less. She won about $400,000. But you get the picture. It's a lot of money that gets recouped in the loss of licensing music. Now now you can obviously see where this was going. Monster lost the court case, and so the Beastie Boys ended up winning with all $1.7 million in damages. Now, what do I personally think about this? I think it was obvious they were going to win, and I do agree with the court's decision to side with the Beastie Boys, since they explicitly had the contract with Z-Trip that he could not distribute their music in any way. And to Z-Trip's, credibility, I doubt he really knew what was going on, because he used one word. In his case, in his defense, it was just one word of an email exchange. There was nothing more, nothing less. It was that. And so they went with that. And Monster should know better. They have an entire legal team who can do research on copyright infringement and what the necessary steps are to avoid it. So do I think that they had what was coming to them in the case and that it wasn't a shock that the Beastie Boys won? Absolutely not. It was from the get-go. You could see the pattern with what was going to happen. And so I am not shocked at all that the Beastie Boys won the court case. Now, just because that wasn't a shock, and yes, they did win $1.7 million in total damages, which is a lot of money, and that could put really a blunder to most companies, but not to Monster. They are honestly doing just fine, because in the end, they still operate in over 157 countries as of today. They still have a continuing compounding annual growth rate of around the same percentage that I showed you, because those were all 23 figures. And this basically didn't burden them in any way to continue to grow as a company. So, as you can clearly see, this was just another day in the office for these bad boys. My name is Nick Ramirez, and thank you for listening to me.